have a go at them. So how the general day goes is that it's pretty bloody hot for most of the day, so you want to do all your work in the yard either early in the morning before say 7:30, 8 a.m. but that's not right now because I'm having a beer. It's afternoon, you know, after sort of 4:30 when it cools down a bit. We're just coming out of winter and things are really heating up, so I've got quite a few plants here next to me that need to go in the ground. The roots are starting to come out of the bottom. I'm either gonna, yeah, most of them are ready for the ground. They're gonna find homes pretty soon and replace ones that didn't fare over the last couple of months. That's a very sad looking mangosteen. I don't know what went wrong there. Tough life, for a mangosteen. It's a tough life. One of the sort of, I guess, failings I had in setting up these syntropic rows, syntropic just a fancy word for throwing in as much as possible diversity wise, produce wise, variety into the same row, was I intercropped with bananas. The bananas were about 3 meters apart and the main tree crop was about 3 meters apart. So initially I wanted to go mangosteens, which are an exotic fruit from Southeast Asia. They call them the queen of fruits, purple, about yay big, sort of a bit smaller than your fist. But the bananas ended up taking so much space, the corm or the core of them, the root, plus also they're essentially like a weed where they keep throwing what's called these suckers, and they just keep multiplying, and they're taking all the nutrients away from the major tree crops. So it worked well initially when I just had one banana plant up because it acted as quite really nice shade for these rainforest trees here, which don't like full sun in the early years of their development, but yeah, they just got too big, and as much as they were great for a variety of reasons, the shading and the mulch, I'm now taking them out, which is proving to be very, very difficult to do it organically. Time consuming. Mulch, mulch, mulch. Ideally what I'd do is I'd get a crowbar or a bit bar, they call it in banana farming, and I'd dig out. Don't fall over, beer. Rest it against the machete. That's it. So at the bottom of that there's the corm or the bit, and I'd need to dig that out with a crowbar to completely remove it, but I haven't allocated the time or effort yet. So I'm just volunteering all these for mulch patrol, as Mike T would say. I'll leave this one here because it's looking pretty healthy, and I'd say in the next couple of months through summer it'll throw a bell then a bunch, hopefully, so I can get some nice bananas off it. This here's like a ginger or a turmeric. It's a root spice called galangal, but super vigorous and acts really beautifully as mulch. I'll see if I can dig some up with the knife. Shovel would be better. Jeez, that's deep, eh? Deepak Chopra. There you go. A little bit of an example of galangal, which is used in a lot of Thai, Indonesian, and different Southeast Asian dishes in general. It's pretty intense, but it's a good time if cooked correctly. I'll come back and pick some out later. got more of this bastard out. So as you can see, I've got a main tree crop, which is behind me, that jackfruit. And then I've got the galangal, which I'm cutting out here. And then under all of this is some pineapples. But then quite a few of the weeds are actually edible as well, like this one. I think it's guacamole. Hopefully I'm not stuffing that up, guacamole. Which is meant to be really good for your brain. Pretty bitter, but meant to be good for you. Mulberry is reaching for the sky, and the beer can go here. Oh look. That's beautiful, eh? Galangal flower. Not much smell, to be honest, but it's quite pretty. So this jackfruit I've got here has been striked from a cutting. So basically how we did that was cutting off a little part of the branch and then adding a little root growth hormone around the bottom, and then putting it in a coir plug in a really warm, humid environment for a period of time, and then it threw roots. So this tree is a result of that. So it's got no taproot, which generally will come out of a seed if you're propagating from seed, but this was literally propagated from a cutting, which is pretty cool. The benefit of that is it's going to be true to form, so not all fruit that you get from seed is going to be the same as the mother tree, but if you take material off a tree, it's going to be exactly the same as that tree. But on the other side of that, this is from a seedling of a similar variety, which this one, yeah, like I said, it's from a seed and it's just started throwing a couple of fruit, which is exciting. Honestly, a lot of what I'm saying right now when I walk through the orchard, I really hope it interests you, because to me, it's something I grew up with, and I generally thought people weren't interested in it, but quite a lot of people have said to me, oh mate, like, tell us about the fruits, tell us about the trees, tell us about all the different plants you got going on. So hopefully you take some value from it. If not, at very least, I'm enjoying walking through the yard, testing my knowledge, having a beer with the bush knife, checking on the fruits. So behind me here's another jackfruit. This one, I really don't know why, but it's extremely vigorous. So it's just shooting for the sky. The soil conditions are pretty much the same. It's had the same amount of tucker in the way of organic matter, nutrients, mulch, irrigation, water. But it must be the variety, because look at this. It's got so many flowers coming out, which are really fragrant. They smell very beautiful. Like that there, look at all the yellow pollen on it, look at that. Wow, it's really, really sweet. But it's got 1, 2, 3, look at the back here, 4, like quite a few big jackfruit on for a seedling tree that's maybe 3 years old. So jackfruit are a really good bang for your buck in the way of growing from seed, because you can just find a jackfruit that you like, keep the seeds. In a jackfruit there might be anywhere from sort of 50 to plus seeds, so many seeds, and each one of those can turn into a very prolific, very giving and abundant fruit tree. So, and lots of different ways to cook them, which I can go into another time. And that's going to probably get like 3 times the size of that. The fruit that this came out of was 27 kilos. It was like that. It was just massive. I'll see if I got a photo to show you. I'll chase it up. I actually want to show you over here as well. And my knowledge is better with exotic fruit and produce than Australian natives for now. But this is lemon myrtle, used to make perfumes, and I believe they also make essential oil out of it for a variety of uses. Even smelling that, I feel 10% less stressed. So yeah, it smells very, very fragrant. I think it's a natural remedy for a variety of things, including keeping mozzies away. But you can dry out the leaves or have them fresh in a cup of tea. Actually does smell like a Bali or a Thai massage parlour, which I've only spent a little bit of time in, but have fond memories. So I wanted to quickly show you here this fence line, which is used to keep cows and horses away from the house, but it's good hardwood timber. I've got dragon fruit in this one in a 40-litre pot, which I'd recommend, with a mix of light, well draining soil, and it's performing the best. So as you can see, these well, they're not yellow yet, but these are yellow dragon fruit, which are generally extremely spiky. And this is the first fruit that it's ever thrown, so I'm bloody excited about it. Have a go at them. And that there is soon to be a flower, probably another week. So that there's the flower. Ideally that gets pollinated by a range of like insects, generally bees, native or European bees. And then it's only open for one night and then it closes back up again. It's just the most miraculous flower. And then from there, it'll ideally set into these yellow dragon fruit, which take a hell of a lot longer to mature than the reds and the purples and that species, but super tasty, crazy sweet. Each post needs to pull its weight, dragon fruit. And then down here I've gone and planted granadilla, which if you're not familiar with granadilla, they're like a really big passion fruit. They've got quite large crunchy seeds in them, all edible, but I'd say if you ate too many, probably block you up a bit, but they're very tasty, really nice fruit. The one downside though with the granadilla is that everything wants to bite them, everything wants to eat them. Come on mate, just go there. Everything wants to attack the granadilla, and that's generally the case with like any berries or soft-skinned fruit or veggies. Is if you really, really like them, everything else is going to like them too. But I need to come out more often and bag them up. Like you could bag them with a brown paper bag, or there's lots of different sort of fruit protector devices out now. I just haven't got around to it, unfortunately. Oh geez, it's a bit of a sad scenario. Yeah, it's all soft. Still might be able to eat a little bit of that. A few bugs on it though. Get a little bit of the flavours, but there's a fair bit going on in there, so I'm going to volunteer that for fertiliser. This is just going to be the proper fruit jungle in the next few years though. Oh, behind me I've got a pig trap, which was here when I originally planted the orchard out, because there was a few wild pigs coming through the backyard near the creek, and they were coming up and yeah, causing a bit of strife. So I set this pig trap here. It's yet to be set again, but I'm going to move it down the bottom and see if I can get a wild boar or a wild pig to eat. So in the main section of the orchard, I've got quite a few rows, but this one in particular I'm keeping a close eye on because the trees are quite high value. This is the durian row, and I've got some really special seedling varieties, but also grafted of named Malaysian and Thai varieties. So I won't list them all out now, but yeah, this is a row that I keep a really close eye on. I've got the durians maybe anywhere between 1 month and 3 or 4 months in the ground, and I'm getting pretty mixed results. Some are flushing and looking really good, others are quite vulnerable to the wind and the sun, and you know, taking a while to adjust to being in the ground. But yeah, I'm just trying to keep them mulched. They really don't like completely drying out, but they don't like having too wet of feet, so it's this fine balance of managing the moisture content in the soil. I'm doing this all organically, so it's a hell of a lot of work in the way of ripping out grass by hand or going around with the whippersnipper or the bush knife. But yeah, I've got them spaced about 4 meters apart. Let me just check. Yeah, about 4 meters apart, and the seedlings, like this one here, this is an Australian variety that was bred here called PK, I believe. And yeah, it's hanging in there. It's probably 1.5 years old from seed. Put it in the ground about 1.5 months ago, and I'd say it's going to take at least 7 or 8 years to get a fruit off it, which I completely understand is such a long game, but at the same time, if it's looked after and well maintained, then forever after that you'll be able to get fruit off it, and not only have amazing fruit to eat, but also it's a very high value crop. If you get a yield every year, you know, it can be upwards of $50, $100, $200 for one single fruit, depending on the size and quality. So here we go. You'll notice some of them I've got shade over the top, and others that I don't. It's depending on how they were sun hardened and sort of the stage that they're at. But I probably will come and spray this with a product called Surround, which will put a light sunscreen essentially over these leaves. So I'm going to come and do that tomorrow, because we're expecting about a week of really sunny, dry weather. So if you do have something that's vulnerable and you want to protect it from the sun a bit, Surround is a really good product to put over the top if you can't shade the whole thing. Oh, also this here, this is a screw anchor. This screw anchor, I got a few of these custom made by a boiler maker locally, and the idea is that, is that a spider? The idea is that this is going to go into the ground and have wires running off it, and then I'm going to trellis every single row, because the issue where I live is we get cyclones, or the equivalent of hurricanes, so really, really strong wind, and it would just absolutely break my heart. It would truly break my heart if you got to say 8, 9, 10 years of growing a mangosteen or a durian, or this, you know, pick your prized fruit tree, and it was there full of fruit, ready to go. The cyclone came through and blew everything down. And I know people that's happened to personally, and it breaks my heart for them, but I don't want that to happen to this investment of time. So I'm going to trellis absolutely everything, so it's secured by high density wire. So stay tuned for that. I just noticed there was a couple of pawpaws that were ripe, so I'll pick a couple of them, then I'll get a fire going for sunset. What's got into that? I think it's a bird. So generally when it ripens up, you'll have to contest with the birds and the bats, but with bats, you generally get claw marks. You'll get these claw marks around them where they're hanging on to try and eat, but I think that's just a bird. So, look at that. Still all good. I don't mind sharing a bit with giving it a bit of a nature's tax to be organic. Could do another day or two, but really sweet, these red pawpaws. It's bloody rewarding. Like, this is maybe what, 9 months, 9 or 10 months old, and every couple of days I just come out and pick fresh fruit. Sorry banana, sorry banana, sorry banana, sorry banana, sorry banana. Have a go at this. I came through and chopped that last week and it's already shot a leaf straight out the middle. You just can't kill them. Sorry leaf, sorry mate. The good thing about having the bananas, like I said before, is mulch. That banana will break down, add to the organic matter in the soil, and yeah, really benefit the growth and the roots of that tree. Alright, I'm going to put this fruit down, I'm going to go round up some timber, and I'll get a fire going. Now this here is what I call a courageous tomato, or a voluntary tomato. It was either shat out of a bird or somehow ended up some compost, but I'm definitely not mad about it. Little cherry tomatoes coming out of this 20-litre pot that's growing a dragon fruit, and that's what it's all about. As much variety and diversity as possible. Almost have enough for a salsa. You're gonna have to believe me, but they're proper sweet. Bloody good. Geez, I don't have any jocks on, mate. Hopefully my nuts and bolts aren't gonna fall out here. Well, I'm pretty happy with that. Generally what happens is you just go for sort of a walk to do a little bit of work / vibe check of the yard, and then you end up getting your hands full with different produce. So this is the steel fire pit where quite a few cook-ups are done, a few yarns are had, and where I burn all the unwanted paperwork. Thanks, mate. So one of my housemates, Chloe, maybe 6 months ago, she's gone and planted this tiny little piece of lemongrass, and now it's this monstrous shrub. Now, lemongrass, if you go through different parts of India, they're using it as a natural mosquito repellent. Actually works. Used in teas, used in curries, make essential oil out of it, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, lemongrass is a really good one to have around, and especially when it's unexpected and you forget about it, and then you walk up and you're like, oh, there's lemongrass. Also really good for mulch because it just like keeps coming back. Bit of mulch. How's that? Bit of seafood. Dinner tonight that we got a couple of days ago out at the reef, which once we get a coal base, we'll throw it on the fire. I yeah, really hoped you enjoyed having a bit of a walk through this afternoon through the orchard. Yeah, thought I'd just take you through for what I generally do in the afternoon or in the morning when I'm home. Have a walk around the orchard, check up on things, pick a bit of fruit, cut a few things that need to be sorted out. And yeah, it's just, I always find a really like wholesome and enjoyable, like sometimes really physical but really enjoyable part of the day, just being outdoors, watching things grow, seeing the development of things that you've planted, and obviously super rewarding when you're able to get a feed out of it. So yeah, if anything, I hope you got something out of this, and yeah, at the very least, that make sure you get outdoors and get in nature at some point. And if you've got any space, even room for a pot plant, plant something that you're able to eat from. You won't regret it. Super satisfying.